Okay. All right, we rolling.
Can you hear me? Push the button.
No, because the music's going right now. Hey, hey, everything about you. Hey, do 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 do. Greetings. This is the Journey of a Relationship podcast. I am Bren'Tel, and I am with none other than
Janelle.
Hey, First
Hi.
Lady. First Lady in the building. Um, Today, I want to start off with a little thought. The importance of knowing yourself before you get into a relationship. I had this
Mhm.
thought a couple days ago. I was thinking about it like, people knowing themselves before they get into a relationship and or marriage can prevent divorce, people growing apart because you're past that certain stage in your life. Um, yeah, I'm not saying it's impossible to grow apart, but there's a certain stage where you're learning yourself, and where like that point in your life is like you're gonna be changing. You won't be the same person from year to year to year to year for a long period of time. Well, a short period of time in your adulthood. Most people.
Mhm.
Um, I think once you get past that and you have a full understanding of who you are, why you do the things you do, um, like how your backstory affects how you move today. Um,
Mhm.
that will definitely help the chances of surviving or nurturing a relationship. What do you
Yep,
think?
I agree. I think that it would cut down on strife. When you're in touch with like who you are and who you're not,
Hmm.
um, it gives the person that you're with an opportunity to gain more understanding, compassion, empathy, because they know if you allow someone to enter into your world, um, and really get to know you. And if you've done that work, then it's an easier process,
Hmm.
for someone else to then come in and be a part of your life. You know what I'm saying? And then you know what you're in for. Like you're not meeting someone's representative or who they think you want them to be or who they think they should be for you. Instead, you get that full view of who that person is, and then you can make a decision, um, of whether or not you want to go on that journey with that person. But um, I think it's empowering,
Most definitely.
when you can offer that gift to someone, like the gift of self, like knowing who you are.
Mm. Right, right.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, okay, from there, I had another thought. I don't even remember how it originated. What caused me to go there. I was at work walking around, and um, I had this thought of like just a question of like how like a over masculine dude can affect a relationship. And then I started thinking about how masculinity and the illusion of masculinity affects relationships, and how uh, the strain or um, difficulty it puts on a relationship.
Mhm.
Um, that in the masculinity that can show up in various different ways, like barriers. You know what I mean, and being vulnerable. Uh, your sense of like control, all of that.
Mhm.
How well you temper yourself with like self control, it can show up in various amounts of ways. I just was thought about like as a woman, how does that affect relationships for you? Like how do you what's your view on it?
Um, you know something for me, I think it's like it's not so much that it's masculinity, it's more so like toxic masculinity.
Mm,
Because just as a woman should embrace her femininity, a man should be able to embrace his masculinity. The problem is, is that when it turns, you take that masculinity, right, and it becomes toxic. So, like for me, I think masculinity is like, okay, men are taught to be protectors, providers, be strong. Those are all good things, right?
mm-hmm.
But then on the flip side, in a lot of cases, men are taught to be hard, be controlling, don't crack under pressure, like, you know, don't be weak, don't do this, don't do that. And so if it's not nurtured, like masculinity is not like nurtured, and those the good parts of it are not nurtured, then it can turn into being toxic.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's the difference. Is like for some men, they're not taught to embrace those positive aspects of it.
Mm-hmm.
What's highlighted is those, you know what I'm saying? Those toxic qualities, or maybe that's what they've seen growing up, so then they mirror it as adults. Um, so it's a slippery slope. You know what I'm saying? It just depends on how you were raised and your, you know, what you've seen in your environment. Um, I think when it's toxic masculinity, it's it's a lot. It's hard because really trying to undo that mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's difficult when it's been ingrained in someone that this is what it looks like to be a man.
Right.
Um, and so yeah, it's hard. It's hard to undo.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, I think it takes willingness on that man's um, from a male perspective. I think it takes being with someone that allows that man to, on the inside, like on the outside world, you have to be strong, you have to do this, and you have to do that, and be everything, and be, you know, tough. But at home or, you know, behind closed doors, I think what offsets that is giving that man a haven,
Mm-hmm.
you know, from the outside world, being a support system and being comfort to say you don't have to have all the answers. You don't have to always, you know, figure it out. I'm here for you. It's okay. It's not weakness if you don't feel so strong. You know, if you don't know or don't have answers, I think that can help offset it. Um, I don't know, but it just depends because some men are just they're not open to that. So in that case, you gotta, you know, see those signs too, and know might be time to go. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I just think it depends on the heart of that man. Um, because at first that facade will be there. But if it's, someone that, maybe they haven't had someone say to them, okay, you don't have to do that. You don't have to be that. It's okay.
Right.
And then maybe that will help. Right. But it depends on that man.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I was thinking about like, because you talked about like how you were raised. A lot of times you could either have like a super like hard ass dad in the house that's like super toxic, masculinity type of dude, and that's what you like. That's your representation of masculinity, or you can grow up and be in like a single parent household, and then your mom is teaching you all of these things that, excuse me, are just as detrimental as the toxic dad. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I guess it could be like one of those things where it's just like a trickle down of, you know, what the mom has seen as a representation of masculinity that she's actually teaching to her son. You can go a million different ways, but that affecting like a kid growing up and
Yeah.
your representation of like, your mom telling you you can't cry or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, you
Yeah.
basically teaching this kid to hide his emotions, and when he gets older, he has barriers of being vulnerable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
And I think, yeah, that mother could be doing the best she can in her attempt to prepare her son for the cold, hard world, you know? But, not realizing that it's, uh, it's kind of counterproductive. I think you want to teach balance, you know what I mean?
mm-hmm.
Um,
I'm
to,
thinking, I have this thought of like, when it's that situation, like, is that just like when you taught to that's your representation of masculinity is the toxic shit? Is it like is it is there just like a hint of like homophobia underneath it all? You know what I mean? When you get down
yeah,
to the nuts and bolts of it, it's that soft is compared to or likened to you. Oh, you're homosexual because you do. You know what I mean? You can talk about your feelings, or you're not scared to cry, or whatever the fuck. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. You're exhibiting tendencies that, to me, because I'm ignorant, resemble,
Right.
uh, yeah.
When
When,
all actuality, this kid is just being human. You know what I'm saying? They're
yes,
they're being human and
and emotionally intelligent.
yeah, and experiencing other emotions besides anger and happiness. You know what I mean? Because those are the
Yes.
two emotions that men are allowed to display on a regular basis.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Those are acceptable.
Right. Um.
Yes.
Uh. Again, you wanted to talk about like being vulnerable and whatnot. How do you think those barriers show up? You know what I mean? And with dealing with how you were raised, like if your mother told you don't cry, whatever, you know what I mean? Be hard, be a man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, how does
Yeah.
that show up later? What, like, have you experienced that?
Yep. I think it can show up in one of two ways. Either someone is, they withdraw, where, at the sign of conflict, they turn away from it and they don't want to deal with it. Or, on the flip side, it could be, they're aggressive. If challenged or pushed too much, or, if they feel like, the woman is talking too much. You know what I mean? Or like she could just be trying to pull out of you. You know what I mean? Challenge you to grow and to use your words and like push on you a little bit to open up. You know?
Yeah.
But when you're taught, you know what I mean, to nobody cares, you know, or you know you're being a baby or you're being soft or, you know, by having emotions and feelings and you either bury it and you withdraw or you lash out when you're challenged to open up.
I think the lashing out is just, it's their form of armor. You know what I mean? You lashing out because you want this person to leave you alone.
Yep.
So you put up this, that's like a dog showing itself. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's posturing up. That's really what that is. But really, underneath of it, like underneath it all, is this scared person that doesn't want to be in a space that emotionally they are in. And it's foreign to them. So they lash out.
It's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see, what else do we have? The importance of counseling as a preventative maintenance, and when you're in the midst of it. Like, do you want to elaborate on that?
So, like, knowing when it's time to seek counseling. That's what I meant.
Okay. But the importance of it, what do you think the importance of it is?
I think the importance of it is objectivity. You have someone who does not have any vested interest, like who does not have ulterior motives, who is objective, who does not know you, who can hear what's going on and be able to provide advice, give guidance on what to do, and it's completely objective. Like, they have nothing to gain from telling you,
right?
You know what you need to hear, and sometimes it's a person is open to hearing that from someone that is close to them, you know, because they think, oh, you're just telling me this because you want to be right, or you want to, you know what I'm saying? Like,
it's an outside perspective.
Yes. And so I think that counseling provides clarity, and it's just, I don't know. I think it's helpful too. Like, especially if you've hit, like, you know, a wall with the person that you're with, and like, you know, you don't see a way out. Like, you just argue or you talk in circles, and like nothing is being accomplished. Like, you're not growing or moving. You're just kind of at a impasse. Then I think that's where a counselor can come in and help you work through some of those issues that you haven't been able to do with each other.
I think that it gives you a deeper insight on self and the person that you're with, right? It also gives you tools to communicate what you're feeling and tools to get you to hear what the other person is saying a lot better than what you would normally. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I think that's the benefit of it. That's what I have taken from it. I think also, like, the insight, as far as the insight of like the Enneagram and stuff like that, like the table diagram, the protester with withdrawal. It gives you it gives you the ability to simplify these big moments in your life. You know what I'm saying? To where you could look at it and be like, okay, this is the person, this is what they're doing. They're they're in this, you know what I mean? They're the processor, they're the withdrawer. You know what I mean? It depends on what type of
Yeah.
counseling your counselor like practices, but that for me, that's what I've taken from it. You know what I mean? Um,
Yeah.
Learning these different styles of dissecting events as they're happening. You know what I'm saying? Still working on it, trying to get better at it. But it's that's what the benefit and the importance of it is to me.
Yep. And it gives you like fresh perspective too.
Yes.
Because for me, it's like in my mind, nope, you did this because of this, and this is what you meant, and this is, and it's like for me, it's been like eye opening to be like, well, have you thought about this angle,
Right.
or have you thought about this is the why behind, you know, the action? So it's like, nope, I didn't. Because it's like actually I didn't, and you know, you just it makes you think about, you know what I mean, like the other person's point of view and how they were feeling, and then it also helps you articulate, you know, how you're feeling that you may not be able to, like in the moment, if you're angry or you know what I'm saying, like
Yep.
upset. It just provides, you know what I'm saying.
What about do you have any more you want do we get all the meat off the bone?
Yeah.
Okay. I highly recommend any type of therapy, individual as well as couple therapy. Me and we were having this conversation about how wait a minute. That's weird. Check. Okay. We were having this conversation about like how the effects of like when you're married, you're supposed to be like your spouse is supposed to be number one. You know, God, your spouse, kids, job, right? Hello? Oh, I gotta get. That's why I gotta get you on here. My bad. My bad. I put you in the headphones. My bad. Hello?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh my
Gotcha.
God.
All right. So you're supposed to have. It's supposed to be the situation of God, spouse, kids, job. Um. So, like your kid, if you're a single parent, your kids have been elevated up to the spouse position and priority in your life because you don't have like a husband or wife. No, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
And how that can affect like the dynamic between your kids if you're a single parent or whatever the case may be, right? So
Mhm.
that's what we were talking about. We had a conversation of like, what is that? The what is single parenting? You know, before marriage and after marriage, like how that will change the dynamic with your kids, how that will affect your kids, and things of that nature.
Mhm. I think that, like you said, like when you're a single parent, like your world revolves around your kids. You know what they want, what they need, how, where, you know, all of those things, right? Because that's, you know, they're first. Like they're, you know, when you're single, like that's your priority, your number one priority, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they kind of run us because they kind of dictate,
Mm-hmm.
like how, you know what I'm saying, the flow and the this and the that and the how and all of that stuff, right? So then, like, and they're used to that, right? And they know it, right? And then when you get married, it's like this shift to where it's like there is now someone else who you have to prioritize, right? And like you said, that person then is, as your spouse, becomes numero uno, right? Or, for all intents and purposes. And then, so now that person's needs and wants, they have to be prioritized, right? They have to be considered first. And so there's this shift, and I think for kids, they start to sense that. You know what I mean? Like, and I think that either, depending on the age of the child too, I think they can embrace that, and realize it doesn't mean that they're less important. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't mean that you're not prioritizing them at all, or that you're not going to still put time, energy, love into them. Like, I think they just need to know that you're able to, like, you can do both. And
that's one of those things where it comes down to communication, right?
Yeah.
Like,
sure.
You communicate that to them, and like, look, this is what it's gonna be. This is where we at. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah. And then I think just knowing, like, I'm still considering you. I still, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're going to spend time together. We're still going to do the things, you know what I'm saying, we used to do. But it's like now I have someone else that is in my life. And this is what it takes to make this thing go. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, it's going to get better, too, as a result, if you pick the right person. As a result of this union, it's like your life's going to improve too. But I have to do the work. I have to do what's necessary to make it successful, or it's all in vain.
Yes, indeed.
So, yeah, and I think that that's not lost on kids, especially older kids. You know what I mean? If they see your quality of life has improved, you're happier, then I think most kids are happy. They're happy for you,
Yeah, they should be, right?
Yeah, it should be that your life is better, even if that means that they have to now share you with someone else.
Right.
But if they see that person is adding to your life, then they'll embrace it. But it's sometimes it's a balancing act, but it's possible,
Yep.
So,
is it wrongs?
Sure.
You want to read them, or you want me to read them?
You can read them.
Is it wrong to schedule sex?
Sex.
Yeah.
My first thought was yes. And that is because
Mama gotta have a life too, Jody.
Absolutely. But it's, scheduling, like, that part is like, is that really how it's supposed to be? Like, isn't it supposed to be fun and spontaneous and, unplanned? Where you just, when the mood suits you, you figure out a way to do it. That's, my first thought. It was like, no. So Wednesday, we do, Fridays at 7. It's like, no, like, why is it so structured in that way? It feels like it's something you put on the calendar, or and it just, I think it can take away from, the spontaneity factor. So I say yes, it's wrong. What do you think?
It's wrong? No, I say
it's wrong to schedule it.
No, I think you do whatever you gotta do.
But doesn't that take away from the
That's not saying that's the only way you're gonna do it.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying. Sometimes you might need to schedule. I pencil you in at 5 on Thursday because I don't have any appointments, or you know
I'm not going to get a flu shot. I'm trying to have sex. Like, why?
what I'm saying?
Why does it have to feel like that? Because then at Friday at 7, you might not be in the mood. You might not. You know what I mean? Something else could come up. You might work late. You know,
Why
you
don't you
might.
look at it like this? It's a date. You got a dick date.
Because
That's what
I
we're gonna
might,
title this
I
episode.
might have to wash my hair.
Dick date.
Like my show is on. Like I don't know. Like I just feel like, what if you don't feel like it at that scheduled time? Like I don't know.
Well, you don't want
You
it then.
still supposed to push through and do it anyway? Like
You don't want it then. Like
I mean, I get it if
dad
you're.
used to say, if you say you hungry or you starving, but you picky about what you gonna eat, you ain't starving.
That's true, because you'll eat anything when you're starving.
Yeah. Is it wrong to go Dutch on the first date?
Absolutely wrong. Hell yes, it's wrong. Mm-mm. We don't do that. I'm unaccustomed. No, I think if it's a proper date, right, and someone and a guy, or in some cases a woman asks the man out. I think that person, that gentleman caller, should be the one to pay for the date.
Whoever asks for the date gotta pay.
Okay, that's fair. That's a whole nother episode about who should ask. But
For
I
sure.
believe if it's the first date, that if, like, let's say traditionally the man asks the woman, then I feel like, that gentleman should pay for the date. So it sets the tone. Like, it's chivalrous. It's, it shows his interest. Like, because I feel like if it's just somebody you want virtually, like, you don't really care. Like, you just like, let's go. Like, it's an outing. It's not a date. It's a meetup. You know what I'm saying? I'm not invested in pursuing you. Like, my interest level is like,
That's debatable. I could say.
I
could
disagree.
say. I could say one of these things. Like, what if the person has a system? Like, we go Dutch the first time. That way, I'm not wasting money on someone I'm never going to see again, or what the case may be. I can see where a person might do that, right? I can see where that might
guess.
happen, right? Maybe they
Charge
had
it to
a
the
bunch
game.
of bad dates. You know what I mean? Like,
Charge it to the game.
listen, I ain't got it to waste. You better be worth me paying for everything on the second date, or we not having a second date. I can see a world where that happens.
I understand that, but you need to vet who you going on a date with. Like, I just
That's a fact.
feel like,
That's
yes,
a fact.
because everybody is not worth even going on the date with. But I think we just rush everything, and then, you know what I'm saying? Where if you had a few conversations, beforehand, then that would give you an indication if that person is even worth your time to go on a date with. But we don't usually do that. We just rush into that, process. So I think you should spend some time talking on the phone, or, you know what I'm saying? Like, getting to know that person a little bit before you just move to going on a date. But I think whoever asks should definitely pay.
Okay. Is it wrong for a man to break up with his woman to get his dollars right?
Yes, it's wrong. I think because I feel like if you're already in a relationship with the person, then I don't think that's reason enough to break up with a person if you're in a relationship.
Well, look,
Now,
look, you tired of me asking to go Dutch and all that? He need to break up. You know what I'm saying? It's only right.
no,
You don't want to
you
go
need to be
Dutch because of
creative.
chivalry and all this other mess.
These rules. Then you need to be creative. Nope. Then if I ride with you and I'm in a relationship with you, then it's gonna be okay. Let's be creative. You know what I'm saying? Like let's figure out ways that we can save money, or you know what I'm saying, date at home or whatever. You need to be creative. If you're gonna,
I think
you
when
should
men,
do that before.
I think when men do that, it's out of ego. Like when they break
Yeah.
up with them, because like they pride, they don't want to have to stretch and all of that, and how they pride
Right.
feel stepped on or whatever.
But here's the
case may be.
thing. Then I think you need to you need to do that. I think before you enter in a relationship, then like evaluate. You know what I'm saying? If that's a big thing for you, then before you even pursue someone or enter in a relationship, then you need to get your money up. If it's that important to you, you know what I'm saying? That
Right.
you would be with someone because of that, then don't even date or don't even like start that process with someone.
Right.
So that's on him. You know what I'm saying? But you shouldn't especially if you have a perfectly good relationship, you shouldn't throw that away
I think
because
we
for
need to
that
take
reason.
a break.
Right. Now, if your relationship, somebody tells you that it's over, they no break. That's just an excuse to go talk to somebody else or whatever. But that's another
You're
episode.
projecting.
But no, that's accurate. But I think that you know, you should work on that before. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
It costs money today. It costs money to, you know what I'm saying, to live, period. But especially, you know, you got someone else, it's like there's going to be some expense involved.
I don't want the bill of you. So we
Then
need
you
to
don't
break.
want then you don't get then you don't get the other stuff.
You
But,
a bill, man.
Ain't nothing free. Ain't nothing free. But just, you know, if you want to work on yourself,
I got Netflix at the house.
and no chill then.
And my link card come back on tomorrow.
We here watch Netflix, but ain't no chilling. But and that's another episode. But I think that work on yourself, you know, before you enter into a situation, and then you know you'll be better off if you do it that way than after. Especially if somebody is willing to be there and they got your back and they support you and they don't care about none of that stuff. You know what I'm saying? They just want to be with you,
Right.
and not the stuff. Then you shouldn't. That's not reason enough to end a relationship.
For sure. I agree with you 110%.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay. You have anything else you want to say or anything like that?
Is there any more meat on the bone? As you like to say. No,
Okay.
I think.
Well, we can wrap this thing on up. We will be back sometime next week. Be on the lookout for us, man. We are about to launch from the journey of a relationship, like podcast stream. That's just those episodes, and get my other shows popping, man. I've been slacking, and we got to get it started. So until next time, we'll see you Can't wait. We're gonna have another ball and blast. Talk to you guys later. Peace.
Bye.